Just chair. Still there. I test them back and I ain't. Let me have one, man. I'm fresh out of work. Get a whiff. From the bakery. All right. Shalom, shalom. Keepers of sheep back on the highways and byways, prophesying now for America, aka Babylon the Great. We are the Hebrew Israelites prophesying to the Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, before we begin, let first start off by giving our praise, our honor, and our glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom, and Shalom to the hopefully lit.
Shalom.
All right. And as you can see, today's camp title will be Even Satan Can Disguise Himself to Look Like an Angel of Light. All right, and this is backed by the precept on Khan, yeah. Khan. If brothers ain't got nothing, we hopefully can start there. But just want to touch on through the spirit of power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the major deception, all right, that Babylon has the people in, all right, mainly you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, but just the world period, all right, because right now nobody seems to be able to identify who the devil is, all right. People seem to identify the devil as a man. Of course, Christianity, the man under the ground, or just anybody who does bad things or anybody wicked. But according to the scripture, all right, spiritual demon Satan, all right, devil, he has a nationality, all right. He has a nationality. He has a heritage. It's a people, all right. Matter of fact, y'all got something.
Yeah, you can go on to that point. It's really simple. With Revelation 13, where it talks about
it's a man, kind.
603 6. I think that's it. I always say that wrong, but kind of like you said, I'll grab it because it said, "Here is wisdom." So this is Revelation 13 and 18. It says, "Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for is the number of man. And his number is 603 6, right? So the number of a man. Who is that man? Esau, right? Esau, human being, the wicked. We go into Job 9:24, right? Just give into the hand of the wicked. Who's the clear rulers of this this land? Who's the clear rulers of the earth, right? Or leaders, right? Esau Edom is at the top seat when it comes to the way society is ran, so on and so forth. So again, that's who that man is. Esau Edom, the wicked.
Yeah, Kyle. Quick point, just to back the brother up, man. The Most High, of course, the Most High deals with nations, but the Most High deals, he dwells among men. All right. And in the accounts of old, all right, Most High was sending out angels. All right, these angels will appear as men. That's why Scripture says, paraphrasing, be not ignorant to entertain strangers, thou entertain angels unaware. But I want to give this account in Revelation 21 real quick, just to prove that the Most High is dealing with men, all right? And of course, the Israelite men, but all men, right? But this is Revelation 21, verse 3, and it says, "And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God." All right, and it's plenty of accounts we're going to how the Most High is the potter, all right, and we are the clay, all right. But again, just showing you that the devil, all right, is a man, all right. He's not. It's not your grandma. It's not your mama. It's a nation of people. It's a specific people, right?
It's literally the same way that the Christian try to teach the story with Genesis with the serpent. Right. The serpent wasn't a snake. No, that was the spirit of Esau. That was a man. You know? So the same thing, man. They try to trip you up and try to act like they try to make it to where they don't line up with Esau evil. They don't line up with the wicked. You can't ban things on them. But it's, you can't help scripture.
God. You got that, June?
Kind. I start at verse 13. Right. So this 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 13 in KJV, and it reads, "For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Mashiach." Verse 14, it say, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light."
Con. And I don't know if brother seen it, but the many elders been doing a video on it, but the elder Jimmy Sakalana, Elder Manat, he did a lesson on it, but vocab alone, he grabbed one of the old like West members. Y'all seen the video? Look, see it?
It's like what? Oh, you said okay.
Yeah, vocab.
Yeah. Kind of. There was at like some picnic or like at a
Kinda.
park or something. Talking stuff like.
And it just shows you how if you can we'll get back to the point with Esau, but it just shows you how these false prophets they coming back. All right, the deception is there. It's because you got people who think that you can be an Israelite and be a Christian. That's basically what this man was saying, that you can be an Israelite and still be in the church. But that's the whole point of being an Israelite. That's why Scripture the Lord said we are a holy people. All right. Got something, June?
I'm reading the NLT, right? So this 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 13 in NLT, it says, "These people are false apostles. They are deceitful workers who disguise themselves as apostles of Mashiach. But I am not surprised. Even Satan disguising himself as an angel of light," right? And when you go to that, that meaning of angel of light, right? Uh, Obviously that's appearance, symbolic, right? But Satan works primarily through deception, not by appearing obviously evil, right? I'm gonna continue on, right? So Satan, rather represents himself, or Satan presents lies as truth, evil as good, and deception as righteousness. Right. He also uses people, systems as in technology. Someone can grab that 2 Corinthians 2:11 for when I enter Satan devices, and also the philosophies. Right. But who's pushing all these things? Right. Esau, Edom. You know, don't finish off verse 15 NLT. It reads, "So it is no wonder that his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. In the end, they will get the punishment their wicked deeds deserve." Right. So I had asked ChatGPT, right, what GMS take on even Satan can disguise himself to look like an angel of light. Right. And it gave me a couple tabs, right? And it also bullet point is also false Christianity is a major example, right? On how everyone can be saved. The law is completely done away with. The prosperity gospel, and also the so-called image of the only begotten son, right? So these devils, right, these deceivers, right, they rule in deceptionists, right? And that's how they, continue to rule over the earth, rule over the world, because why they continue to speak out lies to what make people sound good, right? Because why when people look at the so-called white man, what they do? He look like evil. I mean, he look like the good man, so-called good man, right? He might have on a collar shirt, right, a bow tie, whatever however you want to put it, right? But like the bullet point said earlier, he said that Satan works primarily through deception, not by appearing obviously evil, right? And that's just like with the hell doctrine that Christianity preaches, right? If you let's use that for example, right? If people seen hell, right, so-called hell with the fire burning with Satan sitting on the throne, etc. You think people will go that way? No, right? So they gonna go obviously the way that look good to them, right? And that's how Esau persuaded himself as this so-called good man, but in reality, he a damn devil, bro. Uh, Brother ain't got nothing. Give a couple precepts.
Can I
You
see
still got to say
specific? Second Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. And it reads, we Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
So he's going back until you know how Esau uses right people, the systems, right, the philosophies and the system. Right, we're not ignorant of his devices, right? We see it straight through his lies, right? And Esau is at the time of him as him being revealed, right? Showing that they so-called claim themselves to be Christian and things that says, but in reality, man, they worship spiritual demon Satan, man. Right, the Illuminati, you know, the small hats, the one behind the closed doors, right, man, they all worship spiritual demon Satan, man. Uh, hold on, so like if I read it last bullet point, it say Esau slash Edom in the current world system, right? All right, so it says Satan is said to operate through what they identify as the present rulership of Esau, Edom, and its intuitions, right? Government, media, finance, and religion, say which they believe present themselves as bringing peace, freedom, and justice while leading people away from the Heavenly Father, man. That's exactly what these devils doing, man. So why they want you to call upon God, JC, knowing it's the false names, right? They want you to call yourself Black, African American, right? Indian, you know, Native American, you know, African, right? Because why? Because they trying to continue to keep you in the blind, to keep you in that darkness. Why? So you don't wake up to the reality or to the truth of things, right? To your nationality, your heritage, and your bloodline, right? Yeah, that's all these devils do is lie, man. So why? So they can continue to rule on top, man. But
You see, and when you think about it, that's why people just like, I'm gonna use you for example. I'm not saying you going out, but that's why people trust in AI. All right, trust in going to Google. They even trust the reviews that people leave on on the restaurant. So it's like, because you know, having that light ultimately mean that Esau has all understanding, but which we know he don't have all understanding. Because if that was the case, then he wouldn't be the wicked, right?
uh, and that's why I also said the ultimate lesson is discernment, right? So you have to be discernment of all these things, man. Because why Esau not putting everything out there, right? Because why? Because he know if you put everything out there, then guess what? Then obviously he'll be showing his hand, man.
And it's like the saying the apostle use when they recommend a movie or they recommend a book, they'll say, eat it, pick out the bones. So it's about like in this world. Of course, everything is tainted, all right, or everything has a wicked agenda, but we have to take it and make light of it. We have to take it and discern it for what the truth is. Like with these movies here, right?
Just because you made that point about they can't show their hand. That's ultimately why you heard about trying to have to give the prophets a spirit to be able to understand. Because now in these last days the wicked has been right? We know what wicked they can't hide their hand on it. They can't do the dirt and then wash them away. Oh, like they're known. Like blood's all on their hand. It's just Second Thessalonians 2 and I started 7. It says, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, and the Lord shall consume the spirit of his power, shall destroy the awareness of his coming." So that wicked is being revealed. They can't hide it all. Prophets have been given the spirit through, Yahweh Shall and these things. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing it out. That's what we're going to prophesy. Yeah. Make them know. Um, that's other people. So this is I think it's negative 1, 3, and 5. Or I started. That was a good scripture. I started that. It says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and will show the lace of thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." So again, they're going to be uncomfortable. They're not going to have any gold or anything. Holding that judgment back, right? All of their sins are very naked is going to be uncomfortable. Everybody's going to see who they are. That's why it talks about Revelation 17, right? At the very end, even the heathen nations shall hate the Lord, because they're gonna come up against it, because again they're gonna see all the deceitfulness that has. We can break down verse 17. Those-
What's that got now? I got the research. We go to 1 John 4:1 and Isaiah 8:20. Right, but I'll start off with Matthew 7 and 15, just going back into the exceptions, right? Going back into how how Satan feels going back to that angel of light, right? That Satan Salakia, going back to the angel of light, that Satan that this does not mean Satan physically appears as a born angel, right? Even though we have, like the brother spoke about, I believe that's what Hebrew speaks about, angels, do not entertain angels unawares, right? Because why, the same way how these angels come down, the same way how these demons as well, man, how they, because you got to think, man, Satan use people, right? It could be your loved ones, right? Your spouse, right? Whatever you give your time to, right? Hey, they can ultimately draw you away from the Heavenly Father, show you how to shop, right? So, like, we're going to the people, the technology, the philosophies, right? The religions, right? All these things right here, ultimately to throw you off track or to knock you off your path, right? So that's why you gotta ultimately be discernment, right? Because everything that look good is not good for you, right? Same way how salt look like sugar, right? So this is the book of Matthew chapter 7 and verse 15 said, "Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves or ravening wolves," right? So they can look good, they can look strong, they can look mighty, they can sound good, but in reality they can be a false prophet, right? It's obviously teaching deceptionism, right? And that can go to the Israelite counts, right? The Christianity religions, right? And the other religion that's upon the face of the earth, right? But ultimately that's here to ultimately keep you away from learning the true power, which is the hour by showing how shop, right? And
I got
Isaiah 8, I got that Isaiah. I got 1 John 4. Got it. All right, so this 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1, it reads, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of the Heavenly Father, because many false prophets are going out and into the world, man." So that's going back into that discernment, right? Having to try the spirits, man, because like I say, everything that may look good and sound good, right? Like for example, people might see IUIC because they got all these purple garments, they out here yelling, right? People might be out there looking strong and things of that such, right? But in reality, they out here preaching a false doctrine, right? They're not even calling upon the Heavenly Father true name, the only begotten Son true name, man. They still call upon JC and God, man. So what are they? They false prophets, man. They here to deceive the people, man. And ultimately, we know that Bishop Nathaniel, he preached the names back then, he broke it down perfect, right? But now he's saying that he don't know the names and things of that such, right? 'Cause, man, he sold it out. Right, so these are the things that you have to discern, man, and try the spirits for sure, man. Because if not, you can ultimately fall down that same exact path, man, just because you think they look good for a sense or an example, right?
You see, just to back you up, that's one of Esau's main. That's one of his main tools. His main tools. So his main weapon. All right, deception. All right, because like you said, Esau can make a thing look good. All right, he can make IUIC look good. That's what he's gonna do in the time to come, especially the time of persecution. He gonna make the true prophets, the true men of the Lord look bad. All right, he gonna make us to look like rapists, murderers. All right, and I was meditating, not to go too far, but I was meditating on it the other day. You gotta understand that the Most High really don't reveal everything. He ain't revealed everything. Why? Because you gotta understand how people felt about imagine how people felt about the apostles when they came out with the great doctrine. Not with the great doctrine, but with the great breakdown. Just imagine how people would feel if they knew the true truth. Like if all the secrets, all the mysteries were revealed. And people be up there trying to stab us. People be up there trying to kill us, man. That's why when the Lord was like, drink of my blood and eat of my drink of my blood and eat of my flesh. You know, that it was like Lord going, it was basically the Lord was going out, right? So that's why even now, we gotta be, wise as serpents, harmless as dove. But
uh, Just because you were saying like people would think that we would be they basically just call us evil, but they don't understand that these are just the ways of the Lord. The Lord so look this way, so this is Joshua 24:15. It says, and if it seemed evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve. And if the gods which your fathers served that mean beside the flood, the gods of the Amorites, whose land you dwell. Yeah, my house, we will serve, you know, about you know, shot. So you gotta choose, you want to serve the God that your fathers follow, as in your current day fathers, as in the ones that are in the Christian church and things of that nature, or are you gonna come to the true father, the one who has the correct spirit, the righteous spirit of Yahweh. So that was
You still got it out there.
eight. Comes Isaiah 8:20. It says, to the law and to the testimony, they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light.
I remember in the NLT, they say, look to the Heavenly Father's instructions and teachings. People who contradict his word are completely in the dark. Right. So once again, right, just going into, people not speaking according to this word. Because ultimately, right, when you go back into that Satan transform into an angel of light, all that means is, deception disguised as truth, right? And that's all this world is, man. Deception is literally, so like deception disguised as truth, man. So therefore, when you see people out here preaching a different doctrine, right, it's not the correct sound doctrine. Obviously, they preaching a what? A fable, man. Like it goes into Second Timothy, was that the fourth chapter? It's not the fourth chapter, it's the third chapter, man. So hey, these things you gotta be aware of, man, because why? Because Satan can attack you in all types of ways, man. Like he speaks about Satan, like a warring lion, trying to sift you out his wheat, roughly paraphrase, right? And once again, right, using Esau, right, using the other nations, using your loved ones, right, using maybe people at your job, man, it even could be a job, right? Could be the environment that you're living in, right? But all these things that you got to be aware of. Right? Okay.
You are reading it first one.
I'll bring it back out.
Just whatever, because I feel like Revelation 17 kind of doing this entire just with Babylon being that whore and the nations being drunk off of wine and things like that. So it's true.
I bring it up.
Somebody read it for me now. It was
Revelation 17.
explain that. We break down first. Break out your things with it.
This is it's like Revelation 17, verse 1. It says the title says the doom of Babylon. It says, and there came one of the seven angels, which had seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
And Brothers Brown, I'm gonna actually read it again, but Brothers Brown, Nahum 3 and Revelation 18, and 3. So Nahum 3 and 1 and then Revelation 18 and 3. But I'll read it again for you. So this is again Revelation 17 and 1. It says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sits upon the water. So who is that great whore? Right? That's America, Babylon the Great. Right? Which can also be likened to Nineveh, but this is ultimately Babylon the Great, that great whore, right? The ones who have been laying in bed with all of the nations, which since you said that you since I said that you can read whoever has the Revelation 18 first.
I got it. Guys, Revelation 18, verse 3, NLT. It says, for all these nations have fallen because of their wine. You don't know that.
What you get? You get the AUP?
NLT.
I mean, that's fine too. Really, something too.
This is Revelation 18:3 says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
And like I said, the wrath of fornication. Great, she's that great whore, right? She's in bed with all these nations. You continue.
Come. It says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
God, so again, she's a great report, right? All like I said, for all the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. She's that great report, right? And it's speaking about verse 1. And the Lord got able.
So this the book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. Say you can see. All right. So it says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." Verse 4, jump down to verse 4. He say, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms," he say, "of the well favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft that selleth nations through her whoredoms," he say, "and families through her witchcraft."
So again, she's a harlot. She's a great harlot, great whore. These precepts just showing you that all these things point to one specific place. That's America, right? When you look at it in modern terms, who's always doing business? Who's always doing deals? Who's always who's doing all these things, right? Esau, Edom, man. All these Edomite nations, all these heathenistic nations, they're all in bed with each other. Right? This is Revelation 12. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll read Revelation 12 and 9. Right? It says, "And that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." So again, this is beating the point home. Esau, they're the great Lord. They deceive. They're cunning. They lie.
Quick precept. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, and I will start up at verse 6, right? The point being verse 9, maybe 10 as well. All right, so this Second Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 6, it reads, "And now ye know what withhold him, that he might be revealed in his time." Who is that he that referring to? Esau, Edom, right? So called white man, so called Contagious, right? Verse 7, it said, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." Verse 9 being appointed. He say, "Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders." And so that's all these devils is, man. That's all they out here to do, is to push what? These lying wonders, right? These deceptionists, but it says Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, man. So this is showing right there that basically spiritual demon Satan is using Esau Edom to push out this deceptionist, man. Because as long as Esau continue to rule, that's when he continue to rule on this earth, man. So we got it.
All right, Revelation 17 and verse 1. It says, "And there came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters."
It's that great whore again. So America, right? But how it says at the end, it's upon many waters. This is Jeremiah 51 and 13. It says, "O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness." Right? So who's the one that sees upon many waters? The Lord, like you just said, but what are those many waters? Those are the people, right? Nations, kindreds, multitudes. These are the people. They sit on top of these, top of the people. Like I said, they're at the top. Right? Esau even was in their rulership. Right? This is their king. Right? When you go back into the blessing that Esau was given, he was given what? Fatness of the earth. Right? This was his place to dwell. This was his place to flourish. This was his place to be the head and not the tail. Which, as we know, like it says in I forget exact scripture. But Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that fall. Right? So it's not a flip. You can take it on.
Kind of quick point. That was a great point, man. Like you said, Esau already received the blessing on his side, like the brother said, by really inheriting the earth twice. It says Job 9:24, "For the earth is given to the hands of the wicked." So Esau is the only nation other than Jacob that's gonna rule the earth. All right, that's gonna have total control in the earth. Right now, Esau has total control, so no other nation besides Jacob and Esau is gonna be able to control the earth. God, I can back to pick up at 1 or 2. It says, "With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication."
One of y'all grab Jeremiah 50:7. Right, but like you said, they're all drunk with their fornication. Like I mean, it's really reiterating everything I already proved from verse 1. But all the nations are in the bad with this. So, and like I said, modern day terms, they all do deals, trades. We get oil from this place. They trading, just goods. It's just the way the world works. It all comes back to Esau here, as well as those small hairs over there who really running everything. Smart, which if you know Trump, he answers to them. Everybody answers to the small hairs, right? Because they're Esau.
Jeremiah. So this Jeremiah 51 and verse 7, and it reads, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's Yahweh hand. He said that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations are mad.
See later on again, and mad just meaning out of their wits. Very crazy. But you'll see at the end, they're going to turn. Well, you can continue on first.
I had a point. I'm trying to find a pretty funny piece of in Isaiah 66. Basically, it just goes into how because like the brother was saying, right now these other nations are mad. All right, Esau has made these other nations drunk. Meaning he's deceived them. All right, but when our turn, when it's time for Jacob to rule, we won't have to deceive the other nations. The other nations going to come to us bringing their gifts. All right, bringing their women. All right, bringing all their crops. Whatever they can bring, they're gonna bring to the nation of Israel. All right, because that's gonna be the will of the Heavenly Father, but only because we're gonna be a righteous nation. All right, Esau has fooled the world into believing that he is the light, or he is the righteous. All right, now again, everybody's mad. Right?
Quick precept, Revelation 18 and verse 6. It reads, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her. So like and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she have filled to her double, man. That's why they America, aka Babylon the Great, double to what they have America had done to them, right? Meaning what they because basically America, aka Babylon the Great, they're going to get their damn, what's the saying? Man, I lost the point. But anyways, right, these other nations, right, they're going to destroy and America going to get what it deserves, man, for deceiving the nation and ultimately using the nations to build up their wealth, to build up their growth in a sense, right? But brothers got it.
All right. Revelation chapter 17, verse 3. It says, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns."
So that scarlet color beast, scarlet meaning what? Red. Why is it called red? What does Esau eat? Red. What does their name mean? What does that mean? Right. They're the red people. So this is talking about Esau Edom, but not only Esau Edom. It's like I said, the 7 heads and the 10 horns, which goes into Greeks, Spanish, Romans, and minor French, Romans, and Greek come. And then the 10 horns is the EU, right? European Union or European nation.
The book of Job, chapter 30 and verse 29. I am a brother to dragon and a companion to owls.
So just a precept showing, just linking it all together. This is a Israelite, obviously, Job speaking. I'm a brother to dragons. And it's just the Bible uses similitudes, right? Since I said that, precept. This is Hosea 12 and 10. says, I have spoken about the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and similitudes about the ministry of the prophets. So again, it's all linked together. Right? But I mean, it says in the book of Shirah, it's ways of playing to the holy, but still about to the great. It seems to playing to the time. The Lord gave us the spirit to be able to hear these different things and be able to piece them together. But and if you can get it, you can get it. If you can't, then it's just
Uh, Revelation chapter 17, verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with a gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
So like purple and scarlet colors is what represents her costumes. This is Revelation 18:12. It says the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, pearls, fine linen, purple, silk, scarlet, I think it's dying, I say that, but, wood and all manners of vessels of ivory and all manners of vessels of most precious wood, of brass and iron and marble. Then jump down to verse 19. It says, and they cast dust from their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For 1 hour she is made desolate. So this is how it's going to be. Like, and this is the prophecy again of being made desolate in 1 hour, because that's all it's going to take. Yahweh Shemeshach to destroy this, but it's only going to take 1 hour. But again, this is that great city, right? Can you grab Revelation? You got something? You got Revelation 11 and 8.
Well, so this Revelation chapter 11, verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom of Egypt, or where also our Lord was crucified.
So this is that great city. Those dead bodies meaning what? And those who are spiritually dead, because the scriptures tell you, those who are quickened by the spirit, you have been made alive by what? The breath of life. Right. So if you don't have that breath of life, then you're a dead body. Right. And then so, Matthew 8:22. It says, but Yahushua said unto him, follow me, let the dead bury their dead. How can dead people bury dead? The dead burying their dead, meaning those who are who aren't quickened, those who don't have the breath of life, those who are Ezekiel 37 in that valley of dry bones, which is here in America, valley of dry bones. But kind of you can continue.
Grab that last precept about the I think it's Revelation 20 about the costumes, because I just want to touch on that real quick, because not only of course America spends the most and makes the most money, but where does America put that money? Into the military. All right, that's why America is able to boast, go around and conquer and invade. I know y'all seen that shit the earthquake in Venezuela. I forget which magnitude it was, but basically it killed like over 200 people right now. I think 200 in count. But anyway, it just made me think about of course I don't think it was a natural earthquake, but just showing you again the power, all right, the weapons that Esau has to create earthquakes that kill 200 plus people, man.
To read it, Revelation 18:19, it says, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For 1 hour she was desolate.
God. And I just Googled this AI overview. I said, what nation spends the most money on military? It says AI overview, United States spends the most on its military with a defense budget of approximately $921 billion. The figure means US accounts for roughly 1/3 of all global military. Expenditures and spends more on defense than the next 8 highest spending countries combined. All right, so it's just showing you that out of the whole world, US military, it makes up the majority, man. right? And it makes up the majority in the entire world. That's why when the Lord comes back, coming back with thousands upon thousands of chariots, man, 20,000 upon thousand chariots. Because why? Man, you gotta imagine how many missiles, all right, or how many fighter jets, or how much artillery Esau got stored up that we don't know about, right?
Same way, it's the same thing when you have a shot. You don't know. You don't know.
God,
How shot said, uh, roughly paraphrase, I think he said 7 angels. When you look up what a legion is like 40,000 angels or something like that. I might be complete. Let me fact check this. Just since I said that.
Esau. Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, going to how we're going to destroy Esau, destroy Esau
It's
weapons.
like 12. It's like 6,000. So, but if you say you gonna bring like seven, it's like 40,000 angels able, or that he could bring it.
Nah, that's what I think. But now I was just saying that the brothers going to how Esau got these military like things that we don't even know about. When you go into Ezekiel the 39th chapter, it goes to how we go destroy Esau weaponry with our spiritual power. That's all.
And that's what it's saying. It's saying, this is from Google. It says the matter says since the Roman legion was comprised of at least 6,000 soldiers, 12 legions, which is what he also said, we equal roughly 72,000 heavenly warriors. So that's a how much he think he comes to destroy this place? Like it's gonna be crazy. That's why it's gonna be. That's why salvation. It's gonna be the strangest by salvation. That's why when they look, it's gonna be the spirit. That's why every I shall see is gonna be that. Like you can imagine.
That's why it's gonna be a curse upon the face of the earth, right? For Esau, Edom, right, and the other nations and the wicked. Because these angels, right? These angels come to destroy. They come to reap, right? Zechariah 5:3. It say, then said he unto me, this is the curse that go forth over the face of the whole earth, right? To bear myself up, right? That those are angels that's come back to the people in a sense, people like to say in the movie, to invade, right, the earth, right? Also to destroy the wicked and being what the Lord neglect. But
Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Do whatever you want. This place is, yeah, it's a free for all. You like when they first made this nation. What were they? What was this called? Land of the free, the home of the brave. This is called like a big melting pot. They said, people came over there from from the land over there in the east of England, really all over the world. They came over here for to escape quote unquote religious persecution. That's what they said. But to get away and to have freedom to do as they please. That's why under I think it was under Obama. The alphabet marriage things like that. You can be whoever, whatever you want. That's why they have June is the pride. Shit like that. You get sex changes, and man can both become a woman and vice versa. It's a man of it. Because the only continue.
Come, verse 6. It says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Because again, that woman is America, right? And look what they did to Jake, or look what they did to Israel: slavery, Jim Crow law, segregation, which really was wicked. But kind of like look what he did. Look what he did to Jake. Reading it again, verse 6 says, "I saw the woman from the blood of the saints, the blood of the saints, blood of Israel, blood of Jacob, right? The Lord's chosen, Lord's children, right?" And then it says, it says, and when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Well, what do you think that is? Why? Because America is full of temptation, man. America is tempted. It's tempted to be in this nation and wanna get money and wanna get all these job promotions, like wanna be like them because they look like they live that, but look and live free. You know, what's that saying in the world? The American dream. You know, they have the American dream you know, get your white picket fence, get your house, get 4 kids, a dog running around your yard. You know, all these types of things, right? It's tempting, right? But we know, through experience, how to get out about yourself. You have to do wickedness to get it. That's why, growing up as a kid, you might have heard about stuff like with the music industry, like the Illuminati and things like that. Right? Which really a lot of these things are true. But you got to do a lot of uh emasculating things or demasculating or effeminate things to be able to get this fame and glory, right? You gotta give to get, right? But
And you know what's funny? Testimony. This how deceived I was when I was hearing stuff like that in the world when I was young about Lil Wayne and Drake and all these rappers. I was like, man, no fucking way.
yeah, I'm like,
Like, ain't no way man, I'm talking about it like that. Like, ain't no way they doing shit like that, but it's crazy shit. Yeah, it's
have
crazy.
your brothers ever watched that Diddy documentary?
I still ain't watching it.
And
I don't want to watch it.
it's going. That shit.
Like,
Like
it's gonna bring everything. Like,
I'm telling you, I had some of those thoughts where it's like, anyway, they doing that, but
right.
like people, like, y'all gotta watch it. It's
Harder than
it's
saying that.
telling you, like,
But it just show you that this how really had us in the bag. This how really had us received that.
tell you, because I just tell y'all this one part. It was like towards the end, it was like when Diddy was making like some type of album, like, comeback album, so and he had a producer on there, and the producer was he was basically saying like Diddy was showing him like gay porn. You know, saying this is what you gotta do if you want to get to the top. So it just shows you like that shit is that man. That shit was wicked. And people want to get in the music industry. They want to be famous and all right. Somebody try to fondle with your ass, then you're gonna be confused. And most Jake gonna fall for it because they that's I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but that's the point. Like when people you ever had like seen questions on like social media like would you do this for $5 million? If you get $200 million, would you do this? Would you do that? My response to that is always money is not worth everything, man. But a lot of Jake don't have no boundaries. So they'll do a lot of wicked shit just to just to get some money.
That's why I say for the love of money, what's that about equal?
Love of money.
Yeah, man, you know, man.
Something. I only got a hard time.
That's all I'm question.
We pick back up at 6.
You can read 6.
Revelation chapter 17, verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
So that woman is America, and the blood of the saints be the blood of Israel.
And the angels, verse 7, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. Verse 8, beast that thou sawest was and is not and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. They behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
So again, this start to America. It's basically just for destruction. I mean, you can read countless prophecies about all the scriptures about how the beast, this red dragon, the great war, Babylon, how this place is destined for destruction. Right? It's prophesied. They can't escape it. Right, but like Esau even does, they're trying to be cunning, they're trying to be smooth times. They're trying to escape. Right? Why do you think they have a space force? What do you need a space force for? Outer world is coming to destroy this place. They know. They just trying to get around. That's why the scriptures tell you, the inward thought is that their house should continue forever. The scriptures also tell you, that he had a short time.
But, you can read 7, 8 again. Or what?
God. Revelation chapter 17, you said read 7 and 8 again?
Yeah.
God says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns.
So the brother is showing you that this woman, this mystery woman, what Babylon is America, is out of Egypt, right? But this beast that carried her, right? Because America is riding her backs with this commemoration of these Edomite empire, right? Which is NATO, EU, right? That's what the 7 heads, right? The 10 horns, NATO, EU, right? You went into the 7 heads. Let's went into the 7 heads, right? But America is riding the backs of them, right? That's why later on in the chapters you're gonna see that they're gonna get tired of her. America's in that top seat there, by Roman Empire. They rule because back then Rome had those lead country, tributary states in a sense, like America has today, right? 7 heads, 10 horns, right? You read about Revelation chapter 12, like those the Gauls, the Franks, people who they took over, right? That's how America rules in that sense today. Okay, you got something.
Pick back up at 7 or
You bring 8.
God, it says verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not.
So Apostle John at his time, he not knowing that it's talking about America. That's why he said the beast that thou was is not, because it's talking about America, but it was time for America to come and play here. When he writing this, the Roman what is the Domitian? I think it was Domitian who put Apostle John on the island of Patmos when he put him in prison. So in the time he writing this, the Romans are in rulership. So he in the Roman Empire while he writing this. So he said the beast that thou sawest was and is not. When we tell you that NATO, he used what is the revised Roman Empire. Are you going to the tight definition for NATO is reborn or born? Right? This is when Roman Empire come back, but it came back through America.
That was the future vision that the Apostle John was having, seeing of America.
Con. Verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
We go to
Yeah, I was just gonna say what's Europe.
I was say Revelation 20, that bottomless pit, Europe, right? They lack the resource, they lack those things, right? In a sense. It's that bottomless pit.
It says, and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. And they,
So like I often say, when it says whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, that's the ones that are not part of the elect, right? Then of course that beast that was finished the piece from get into that beast that would and is not and yet is was referring to once again there.
And a quick point as well. And also when he says, when the brother told you that, this is the future vision that Apostle John having, right? He says, in the beginning back in, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, shall sound the bottomless pit and go into perdition. So America was going to be, he already seen America being destroyed. It was going to destruction, right? It was going to be destroyed, perdition means destruction, right? So this is a future vision that he's seen. He's seen eventually America was going to be destroyed, but he seen it come into play and all the, how it had everybody in, had everybody in subject under him, like had everybody a lower body. That's why he referred to it as a woman. It's basically how everybody like caught. How the beauty of it, right? Everybody love it. Everybody love the lifestyle, love it. All these things, it had everybody lured into it, right? But he's seen it going to this as well. That's why America was set up, right? So show the world wickedness, show the world justice behind it. Eventually, it's going to be destroyed by Yahweh Shem HaShem.
it says, and when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. Verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom, the 7 heads and the 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Verse
That's yes, you could
I was just gonna say those 7 heads or 7 mountains. Those mountains being what? Those NATO governments, right? A mountain is it's a government, right? And then you got a point.
Yeah, cause I was just gonna say, when he said, "Here's the mind which has wisdom," this is the angel breaking it, breaking it down into Apostle John. He's showing what he's speaking about, what he's talking about.
The same way that he did in Revelation 13, verse 18, like I read earlier. Like here's that they have wisdom, right? For that, someone that it's a man, like he saw you.
You can see a few times. Quick point, like Revelation 19. I think it's another chapter where he said it too. But when Apostle John is seeing his destruction, he's seeing the thing that's coming. He bow down and start worshiping the angel because he's seeing the destruction, he's seeing what's coming, right? But the angel tell him like, no, I'm your brother. I'm one of you in the sick. I'm your brother, right? Because Apostle John, even all the prophets, they seen these things, right? They really seen the destruction. They seen the how these places play out in the you know, the judgment behind it. They see it and it put them in fear, you know.
Con. Verse 9 again, it says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom, the 7 heads and 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Verse 10, there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is.
I want to say, I would go to the body following. You got the Greeks, right? Spanish, French, like, made the mind. Those are 5 that's fallen, right? And when you read about it, you will read about it in Daniel 7, right? When Rome coming up, right? You know, it says well when America coming to play, and Daniel 7 it speaks about how it plucked 3 of the heads. I'm talking about Daniel 7. It plucked 3 of the heads up, which was the French American War, the Spanish American War, and then you had the Revolutionary War when they went against Great Britain, right? But them on the 5 that's followed the Greeks, Spanish, the French, Germany Minor, which is Germany today.
Uh, verse 10, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come.
Now, one is just talking about the Roman Empire because he mentioned they're in rule, and the other, it says, and the other is not yet come. It's talking about the Great Britain or the British Empire, right? That's why you know when they came on the scene, that's why you know America was able to get away from or break away from them in a sense. But you know behind the scenes, he still gets martial orders. You know, Britain still have his play in this, right? But in a sense, that's how they were able to break away from them easy because you know it wasn't quote unquote you know fully established where his strength yet.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
Again, the brother already broke it down, but you know what came out of the beast, right? They talks about that also in Revelation 20, 26. But saying, what I guess we could grab Revelation 7 verse 8. I read it says, I considered the thorns and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
Daniel,
Damn, say,
you said Revelation.
I did. It's like Daniel 7 and 8. It says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. And that little horn being America, right? This is that place that came up out of it, right?
You know, you know, it came with the blasphemy, the lies, the deception. Right? America came on the scene and like, you know, took over. You know, it took over, right? But in this, you know, they especially, you know, around World War II time, right? With those bombs being dropped, then you know, they went into space, you know, but now you had the fall of this place. But come we can get back to Revelation.
Come, verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings and Salakia 1 hour with the beast. 13. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
So you say I want mine because you have, you know, really when you have these meetings, you know, America get the last say so. America is able to say whatever America says, that's what's going, right? You know, everybody as you go further down, you're gonna see it, you know, like they really don't like America, but at the same time, this is the prophecy that's set. You know, America was set up, you know, in that rise of empire to be in that ruler seat. So, you know, they have that one mind, they all are under suggestion, but they really, you know, America's on the backs of all of them, and America has the say so. America is in the ruler seat. Like,
Come. Verse 13. It says, these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
So that whole market wants to for a woman, right? They want to have a centralized order with all the heathen nations. Of course, that's why you know, you go to Psalms 83, it talks about what the nations have made a confederacy against thee. Right? They've come together, right? They've come together, they have their a new agenda in a sense, right? Like I said, they give their power, who would say shall give their power and strength unto the beast. And again, you read it up again, it's talking about that fornication with being them being in bed with this place. And like I kept saying, modern times, trade and because when you really go into politics and things like that, America is one of the uh, places with the highest debt. Right, they're in debt to other countries. These other countries are in debt to other countries. It's just one big um, I debt. Kind of like everybody's in debt to everybody. But they're all working in cahoots with each other. Especially
And when you get into it, the Revelation 18 speaks about how how they say where we were made rich. That's why in this chapter, if I'm mistaken, he speaks about that scarlet color that Jesus trying to con. That's one of the main reasons that these countries really look aside from the immorality or the wickedness that America does. Right? They have these quote unquote these set rules things, but America be breaking them all the time. They be uh, you know, just ambushing countries, doing all type. They do whatever they want to do in a sense. But everybody look past it because America helps them get money. America helps them get rich. America pushes them so much. America pushes them so much ways. Like you got the World Trade Center and whatnot. Ezekiel 17 speaks about the traffic, the business. Ezekiel 28 speaks about the traffic, which is the business. Right? They got so much business, and you got to think about it. It ain't when you speak of business, it ain't just we talking about stores or not. You gotta think at one point this business was who? People. They was moving slaves. That they got so much business that going here, man, that everybody like, you know what? Ain't gonna lie, only reason we gonna work with him is because man, he gonna get us paid, he gonna get us rich. You got it.
God. Verse 14, title of this it says victory for the Lamb. It says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords, and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
So they're like that. That's how simple these people really is. They really think that they're gonna be able to make war with Hawashai and his legion of angels. They really think that it's gonna be a competitive battle. They go back and forth, and America gonna be winning, then Hawashai gonna be winning. It's gonna be America come back and counter on something. No, man, the Hawashai gonna come and he's gonna destroy this place. This is Revelation 16:14. It says.
Yeah. You read 13 or you're sorry, 13?
So this is Revelation 16 and verse 13. It says, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon.
The dragon is that Roman Empire, right? And when you go into it, from three spirits, you have Pentagon or so the Pentagon, which is the military headquarters of the place. You have London, UK, right? London, UK. You got the city state of London. You got London, UK. That's the financial headquarters, right? Then you have Vatican City. That's the religious headquarters of this rise from the empire, right? Those three unclean spirits. Once again, that dragon is talking about the Roman Empire.
It says, not of the mouth of the beast,
It's NATO, EU, or America,
and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
which is Vatican City, or the Roman Catholic Church. That's the false prophet. When you go in the word Vatican, right, when you break it down, right, the word when you break it down, it means prophets of the serpent, right? Prophets of the serpent, prophets of the Latin word, the Mayan word, right? Baptiste, and can, right? When you go into it means prophets of the serpent. Man.
I won't go like too deep into the history, but again, dealing with the Vatican, the Roman Catholics, you do your history, about Ptolemy, how Ptolemy took over and he tried to make a universal religion, like cause he came into like Egypt, he came into so-called Africa, which is for lack of a better term, he came in Africa and again, he tried to make a universal religion so he could take over these lands and rule them and things of that nature. So you got Catholics. I just looked up what the word Catholic means. I read it verbatim. It says the word Catholic derives from the Greek word Catholicos. It says literally means universal, all embracing, guarding the whole, which means it's all embracing. He took manners from the Egyptian guys, Horus and things like that. And he took stuff from the Greek guy. He basically combined it all into one. And that's now you got this Christianity running around like this.
Jesus Christos.
That's exactly where it came from. But Jake don't know that because Jake don't know history. That's again, Proverbs, how long be simple ones we love simplicity. You want to be simple minded. You want to think, the history don't matter. All these things don't matter. as long as the Bible I read says Jesus Christ is what I'm gonna call him. Well, all right, I mean, cool, but if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. So I mean, that's how I want to be. Cool, but the scriptures also tell you in the apocrypha, I forget what exact verse it is, but it says, be not ignorant in any matter, small or great. So you shouldn't be, you don't, especially when it comes to history, right? You can't be ignorant because you're going to leave out everything, right? You're believing everything Esau even tell you in the school books, but that they leave out quite a bit.
Well, I was watching the lesson, the older lesson, other part from like going into that hesitation of the Jews, they would speak about, you go to John 19, he said they wrote Yahweh name, right, in Greek, Hebrew, and Latin, because that also shows that those Gentiles or Israelite foreigners who was amongst these nations, Catholic nation. So you had ones who spoke Greek, you had ones who was under Roman rule who spoke Latin, right? You had ones who spoke Hebrew, right? But ultimately, the son name is Yahweh Shah, right? That's the Paleo Hebrew Yahweh Shah, like wrote in Greek, Hebrew, and Latin, but at the same time you had Gentiles, right, who was under these rulership or the mindset of these other nations, as you can see. When they come in to rule, they come in with all type of deception, changing the name, doing all these things, as the brother just told you the history of.
Keep reading in Revelation 16. So verse 14 it says, "For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of Power Almighty, or Yahweh Almighty." Verse 15 it says, verse 14 it says, "For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles."
That's part of their deception, man. That's what they get you. That's what they get the whole world with those miracles. So, and let's go to that video of Elon Musk. So we get this they say the Neuralink, whatever he said, right? He's gonna give you he's gonna give you like the bright power. Yeah, it's gonna give you like power like your house I had, right? He's gonna give you all type of power. These are the miracles that they allure everybody in with, to basically team up with them, right? It's like the brother mentioned, the New World Order. Right, he gonna get everybody tied into this thing. Yeah, y'all get this chip, man. Can't nobody gonna be able to tell, ain't nobody gonna be able to. They want to hook themselves up to computers, all type of things. Right, they coming up with these miracles, all these type of ways to deceive the world, deceive the people. One of the things he mentioned is if you paralyzed, you'll be able to walk. You can't see, you'll be able to see again. You can't, they coming up with all these miracles. That most of the people, you gotta think. If a man been in a wheelchair, if a man was not in a wheelchair and he caused an accident to get in a wheelchair, and now he got the opportunity to take a chip to get out of the wheelchair, what you think he gonna do? Right? Especially if you don't got the truth, you don't know the word. Or you just, what you think he gonna do? Right? These miracles that Esau deceived by Matthew 24:24. It's gonna get a lot of people, but it ain't gonna get the elect though.
And see, quick point. See, a lot of people don't understand that people be in situations like the account with the blind man, right? They was asking the Lord, is it something his father or his mother did? And the Lord was like, nah, basically it's just that's his will. Why? So the Lord can show his power in healing that man or just being who he is, right?
I really missed this point. But going back up to verse 13, talking about those 300 spirits, right, with America, EU, NATO, and then the Catholic Church. This is just a quick point. Right? Marie, it's from an article, but it just tells you what it is, because this is from like the government site, like the site of your United States of America government, the government that you believe in. This is straight from their site, right? Tying all this together, because these three entities is what's causing everything to happen. The advances of World War III, this is what's causing it, right? So this article, again, it comes from the government website, right? It says the Holy See is the universal government of the Catholic Church and operates from the Vatican City State, sovereign independent territory. The Pope is the ruler of both Vatican City State and the Holy See. The Holy See, as the supreme body of government of the Catholic Church, is a sovereign jurisdiction entity under international law. The United States Holy See consult and cooperate on international issues of mutual interest. So this is just proven to you. This is literally from the United States of America government website. This is an article you can read for yourself. The United States government, Holy See, meaning the Vatican, meaning the Pope, they come together and they consult on all of these matters. So you can't tell me that the scriptures aren't true, or that this prophecy isn't playing itself up. Right? I'll pass it out. It says the Holy See The United States are both members of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. The Holy See also is an observer to a number of international organizations of which the United States is a member, including the United Nations, the UN, Organization of American States, and the World Trade Organization. So again, Babylon is in bed with all these places, and it's this prophecy. I mean, prophecy brings us something, you know.
I want to read this real fast. Another back you up with that, just showing you how like so it's this book. I sent it to the brothers in the group chat, but it's called the 10 Tribes of Israel. Right, this is going into account of how basically how Esau, how they done try to erase history and cut, hide certain things in like history books or certain evidence that prove that these 10 tribes over here were the Israelites and show you that who the Israelites are, right? But just to get straight to the point, in this article it talks about how they have these certain things, right, and where these things are hid at. Let me see this right here. Okay, Khan. Right, so I'll read it right here. It says, to the antiques of Mexico, the following pages are indebted for the most valuable portion of the testimony by which they are enriched. This rare and costly compilation, which was a few years ago published by the Right Honorable Lord Viscount Kingsborough, has hitherto been little known beyond the libraries of universities, and of those few notable. Right, so he wrote this book, or he wrote this thing basically showing you like who the Israelites truly were, in a sense, right? It says the Antiques of Mexico at that present time consists of 7 folio volumes, which, with exception of the 6, contain facsimiles and drawings from such historical remains as had escaped destruction, which all the primitive records and other memorials of the tribes of the new continent had been condemned by the policy of their invaders in the 15th century. Who invaded? Who had came over here and invaded? Right, when the North Kingdom was over here, the Spanish, those conquistadors, they came over here when the Northern Kingdom was over here, right? So they got rid of a lot of those things, but it's certain things that they didn't get rid of that's still hanging around. And watch what they did with them, right? It says liter liter literature and antiquarian travelers having from time to time transmitted these precious relics to their respective governments, right? They have been preserved in royal libraries of Paris, Berlin, Dresden, the Imperial Library of Vienna, and the Vatican Library, which is what, right? Vatican City is what? What Roman Catholic Church, where the false prophet dwell. Right? So they have these things here. They know they just got them hid, right? It says in the museum at Rome, in the library of the Institute of Bolignia, and the Bodleian Library, Oxford, right? But just to show you, right, they know these things and they got certain things hid to where you can literally prove, who the Israelites were. They got historical facts that can prove to you and show you. But like the brother said, they teach you in school. They teach you the basically the base. I'm talking about the bottom base of the things. They don't even tell you nothing. Like it's like if I told you, hey, go over there and never said nothing else. You like go where? Well, but Jake, so they done dumbed Jake down so much and made the education. Oh, they made American education so so popular. They feel like as if what you learn in school is all you need to know. But
I mean, that's just the spirit of these and deceivers. Main shit. What is the word apocrypha? Secret. They literally took it. It was in the original 611 King James Bible. They took it out in 1885. I mean, and they named it the apocrypha. They named it secret books. I mean, the shit is really plain as day, but Jake is simple minded. They don't. Like I said, my people do not consider. They don't consider these. They don't consider history. They don't ask questions why. Like they. I mean, can't really.
First King James version written in 1604, right? It took them, it took them 7 years to translate. And then that little fact about that little not fact, that little the rumor about King James was a so-called homo whatever you want to put it. That was a lie made up by somebody because I forgot his name, like Anthony something, but it was a lie made up. Because basically King James had got on him for something they had did, right? So the guy to get honor back to his family, he made up a lie on King James to try to act like he was the so-called homo whatnot, but that was a lie made up. I forgot it. It's like Anthony something. I forgot his name.
Point. Really, can you read that Revelation 17 again so we can get the point out?
I'm on 14 or 15.
I forgot what you left off on.
I picked that up before. Revelation chapter 17, verse 14. It says, These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords, King of kings, and they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful.
So again, it's talking about that battle because they're gonna try to make war with Yahweh Shah, right? So again, Revelation 16 and 14, right? It says, "For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty." Right? We just broke that down. So verse 15 it says, "Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame." So again, this is talking about the elect, those who have the truth, right? That goes into that scripture, wisdom now shall be severe in those times, right? Because World War III comes, all hell gonna be breaking loose, but
Can I bring this up earlier? I was speaking about the King James, right? So the guy's name was Anthony Weldon, right? And it says the vendetta against the vendetta against the king, the fiery Sir Anthony Weldon worked in the royal household, but was dismissed by King James after Weldon wrote a scathing, insulting essay mocking the people of Scotland, right? It says the lies and revenge, bitter over losing his position. Weldon vowed revenge after King James died. Weldon wrote his famous memoir, right, heavily filling it with gossipy, venomous accounts of the king's court, right? So that was a lie made up, right? That was a lie he tried to make up. This goes to you. I remember a long time ago, I was telling somebody true. I guess his father something tell him like, yeah, man, he said my father said King James was a homo, and them lies made up. They gonna do anything to try to belittle the truth, man.
start with this. 17. This is Revelation 16 and 16. It says, "And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue, which is really is it about God one?
I'm a guy on your mountain of truth.
God, the troops, right? Heart meaning mountain, God meaning, or Gad meaning troops, and one means plural, right? But the mountain of troops, right? Which this is where that so-called World War III, it's gonna be fought at least there in Israel. That's why you see all these wars, Israel, Israel and Gaza and Israel, all these other places, right?
But real quick, I'm gonna jump back up. It's verse 16, verse 12, because it says, "And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up." That's a key prophecy when you know. It says, "The way of the kings of the east might be prepared." It's like it says that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared, right? Because they're going to be gathered up to the east, and they've been gathered up into Armageddon, which is so-called the Middle East, right? Where they land there, right? They're going to be gathered up. And also, the brother read down going into that great battle, Armageddon, right? With Valley of Jehoshaphat, how was Shaphat, how would judge.
So you can see
This book of Revelation 17, verse 15. He saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
we already broke down from verse 1.
Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
I read a scripture earlier, and Nathan, I think was speaking to it again. The Most High is going to show them naked. America's puffed up. America think that they're untouchable. That's why you got these Edomites walking around here saying America. They saying America's the greatest nation. You got Trump talking about make America great again. They're puffed up. They think they're untouchable. Right? Trump probably think he's the smartest man in the world.
I got a precept for you for that. In Revelation 18, starting verse 6, says, "Reward her, even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. And the cup which she has filled to her double. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and I have no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord powers who judgeth her. Right. So it's a precept back in the brother, you know, America now lives, they so puffed up, live busy, but ultimately most I gonna bring them down, they gonna destroy it.
So all their allies, all American allies, they gonna turn on her. It's not just gonna be Russia shooting places with missiles. Everybody can come against her because they're gonna see, like it says in Second Thessalonians, the wicked is gonna be revealed.
And you see that revealing, you can see that revealing now, right? You know, they ain't gonna probably put it publicly, but you can kind of see how, like, you know, how you can keep how these countries are having, these countries are talking behind the back, they're like, man, I ain't gonna lie, we're gonna have to get. That's why they did they had the Straits of Hormuz. What are they talking about? What they said they were when Russia, China, and Iran was working together. When I was dealing with it on the chat GPT, they were saying they doing this to what? To stop America's world dominance. Like, they trying to make it a multi-power, right? Because it's only one place that's ruling over everywhere, right? So they trying to stop American world dominance. So they're like, yo, we gotta work together, and that goes into Ezekiel 38, right? You know, man, I can't think of the name, right? Ezekiel 38 with Russia.
Gog and Magog.
Gog and Magog, right? They're gonna be a guard unto these, you know, Gog and Magog, right? And all her allies, right? They're gonna come. They're gonna even NATO EU is a part of that. All them gonna shoot these missiles right on into America. They're gonna destroy this place, right? Ultimately, it's gonna lead to that war, right? You know,
This quick precept going back to that Revelation 16, 12 on down to 16 and back to you, boy. Right, so this Isaiah 13, verse 4 and 5. Right, so it said the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. How you pronounce that word? Like tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh, host,
I'm just a
but
tiny.
the host
Yeah.
at the battle. Right?
I'm good.
So let's speak about what World War III, that Armageddon that was speaking about in Revelation 16 chapter, right? And that gathered together is of the Lord. I'll grab that real quick. In the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, and verse 8. And it reads, therefore wait ye upon me, said the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. So for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with fire of my jealousy, right? So that gathers of the Lord. I'm just jot down to verse 5, right? God, the brother was talking about shooting missiles up and destroying this place. So this Isaiah 13 and verse 5, it reads, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh, in the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land, right? They're going to do what I think they're missiles, right? Those missiles is going to help the power sign and anchor destroy this place, right? And ultimately it's going to return into the lake of fire. But brother Scott.
Come. And just a quick point. Man, America, Babylon the Great is so powerful. They don't even realize, they don't even see what America ain't see what's happening, because you gotta understand, they boast themselves up so much that they figure that nobody really would travel to that extent. But they sadly mistaken, right?
Proverbs 16 and 18, pride goeth before destruction, and the haughty spirit before the fall.
Revelation chapter 17. I'll pick back up at 17. It says, for the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom to the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled.
What's the scripture say? Hearts of kings is in his hand. He ain't, but he said he turneth them whithersoever he pleases. Roughly paraphrase.
Verse 18. It says, and the woman which thou sawest is the great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
Who does it? Babylon. You saw it. America. I don't know. It's plenty of names for them. They're the wicked. At the end of the day, they're the sons of the wicked. You got three types of people: sons of the Most High, son of man, sons of the wicked. They just so happen to fall under that. They're that cursed people. Those red people.
I'll read this real fast, right? Isaiah 13:2, right? He said, I told the one said the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see, right? 'Cause when he writing this, when he was the Babylon Empire was in rule. So he knows he's talking about America. But here's the point, verse 2. Lift ye up the banner on the high mountain. Right, what's that high mountain? The brothers just read it, Revelation 17:18, right? America, Babylon, right? Spiritual Sodom and Egypt, right? You know, lift up the banner, which is this Bible, and the standard of Yahweh Shem Shah, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, and they may go into the gates of the nobles, right? So and really these elites, we pop sign against them, cuss them out, let them know that it don't matter what they trying to do, no matter what plans they create. At the end of the day, you're gonna be destroyed, you're gonna be brought down. You know, that was his precept. That early 17, 18 kind.
God, brothers ain't got they trying to post a free 600.
I got a precept. Hey, say. Second Corinthians. And 11, right? Verse 14. Oh, yeah, you brought it up? I'm talking about you put that. I think they should bring it up. I would just bring it up.
Bro, we have a closing free.
Yeah, I think so.
I got one too. I'll bring mine out first. All right, this is like the brother said, just going back to the title at hand. This is Clasic, also known as the Book of Sirach. 12 and 10 says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is wickedness. All right, so and there's another precept, though wicked join hand in hand. No, though they join hand in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. So, because Esau has cleaved to all these nations. All right, Esau has cleaved to specifically the nation of Israel, and a lot of people want to save Esau. A lot of people want to save they oppressor. All right, but that's not gonna change the heart or the mind of the Most High to say, okay, it's about like in the world in a corner sense. You got that friend. Your mama say stop hanging with such and such. Oh, he can't come over here no more. Bro. You gotta listen to what your mama said. So same thing with Most High, man.
So this right here is Psalms 55, right, verse 21. So the words of his mouth to Esau Edom were smooth and butter. He said the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were soft than oil, yet they were drawn swords, man, because Esau come to you in that soft manner as he care about you, or he think good about you, or he got something good in store for you. But in reality, what was in his heart, man. So as you talking to him, and you turn your back from him, and you stab you right in the back. They only care. They don't care about you. All these miracles that they putting out, they only to deceive you and trick you, so that you can come into them. And once you get a part of the system, it ain't no getting away from you.
You grab John 8:44. Let me grab this real quick. Revelation 12 and 9. He's saying the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil. He said, and Satan was deceiving the whole world. He said he was cast out into the earth, and angel was cast out with him. So let's go back to the title at hand and finish it off with that. That John 8:44.
That's I was about to say it's going to his arm way that we can use that.
This is John 8:44 says, ye are of your father, devil. Lust of your father he will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and bold not in the truth, because there was no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. He is a liar and a father of
Say, man, he is a liar, father. You saw Edom, man. Devil, man. He deceived us, man. They deceived the whole world. But that's why these devils, that's one of the many reasons why these devils have to be put down, man, destroyed.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Lord willing, this count was edifying. Until next time, we'd like to close out. I give all praise, all honor, all glory to the Most High. Yeah, the power of Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Habadash. Double honors to the apostles, the others, the great millstone, shalom, and shalom to those who live.
So also,